So, welcome to my talk about Norse gods and horse gods. First, let's meet the actual gods that I'm going to talk about. So, the Aesir, which just means gods, I think, are, first of all, Odin, who is elderly and crazy and possibly a pirate, and about which more later. Thor, who is a large man with a hammer who hates ice giants for no discernible reason. I haven't been able to find out why he hates them, but he hates them an incredible amount. And is basically a beard with a hammer sticking out of it. And Loki, who is the god of being a needless tool all the time. If you want an idea of how terrible a father he is, his daughter is literally Hel. That is her name, and she guards the underworld. And his son/dog brings about the end of the world. So if you want like a low bar to clear as a father, having your son, dog, not bring about the end of the world, he does not clear that bar. So this is the pantheon that we're dealing with. So this myth is unofficially called Odin Would Do Anything for a Klondike Bar. So Odin is actually older than all of the other gods, but is not actually wiser or any more powerful. So he decides to fix that. He decides to basically promote himself. And he comes up with an interesting way to gain more power. He decides to hang himself from Yggdrasil. Flip. So Yggdrasil is a giant tree. It's called the world tree, and its roots stretch from the bottom of the ground to the top of the sky. It's a big magical tree. So he hangs himself from it. Already we'd see some problems with this methodology. And after 9 days and 9 nights, he looks down and he sees that these twigs that have fallen from Yggdrasil actually spell out a magical alphabet, which he calls runes. Flip. So with the runes' power, he has become more powerful. Or, they don't mention this, he may have possibly hallucinated 100% of this because he hung himself from a tree for a week. Now, he's still not satisfied. He still wants more wisdom because that's the kind of guy he is. That's why he's a god. So he goes to a giant named Mimir. One of the ice giants that Thor hates, incidentally. Mimir owns the Well of Wisdom. Flip. So one drink from the well gives all of the wisdom of the ice giants. So Odin asks for a drink. And Mimir says, sure, that's fine. I just need one thing from you. And Odin goes, yeah, what is it? I need a drink from the well. What do you want? And Mimir asks him for his right eye. Let's pause here. So obviously, Mimir is super into people's right eyes for unclear reasons. But what must be his success rate on this, right? How many people come to this well and go, oh yeah, sure, a right eye. That's a normal business transaction. Let's go on with this. Odin does that. Odin rips out his right eye, throws it into the well, takes a sip of water, and comes back more powerful than any of the other gods. So there is one side effect. He now looks like he's a member of Dashboard Confessional. Flip. There we go.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is this how we get an eye for a drink thing?
Yeah, that's the common idiom.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the first myth. That's how Odin got so wise, by being completely insane. So the next myth is called The Aesir Get a Deal on a Wall, or Why Fixed Bids Are a Bad Idea. Asgard, home of the gods, is attacked and needs a new wall. Its wall has been fallen down and they're open to attack. So Odin makes a bet with a giant. For some reason, they're constantly making bets with people they hate. So if the giant finishes the wall by himself with no help in 3 months, he gets the beautiful goddess Freya, the sun, and the moon. And if he doesn't finish it, Odin gets the wall for free. So the giant says, sure, yes. Flip. That's a horse. I labeled it because it's not obvious that it's a horse. Basic math. Giant plus horse plus 3 months equals wall. So the giant grabs his horse and his cart and he gets to work. But he's actually on track to finish on time. He is working super fast. He's going to finish before the 3 months are up. And Odin is not the best person and does not want this to happen. He needs that wall for free. So he goes to Loki, who, again, the god of being a needless tool all the time, and says, Loki, you gotta help me. You gotta trick this guy. And Loki, a lot of these decisions are insane. Loki turns into a sexy lady horse and leads the giant's horse away into the forest. Without his horse, the giant is slowed way down and can't finish the wall. But, as anyone should be when dealing with the Aesir, he is extremely suspicious of what just happened. So he storms in to Asgard and is just super angry. He's yelling at Odin. Thor, who you may remember is a beard with a hammer, is delighted. And he is like, yes, at last, this guy is attacking someone. And he murders the giant with his hammer, which I've illustrated. The wall is actually like 90% done at this point. So they build the wall themselves. The giant just did most of it. Meanwhile, remember how Loki turned himself into a horse in the forest with the giant's horse? A few months later, Loki comes back with the giant's horse and a horse son. The horse son has 8 legs for, again, unclear reasons. His name's Sleipnir, and it's the fastest horse in the world. So Odin takes it for his own. It becomes Odin's steed, which leads to an extremely weird vibe around Asgard, because I've illustrated the sort of family tree here, or Yggdrasil. So Loki, I got married, the giant unnamed horse, had a baby named Sleipnir, and Odin rides his half-brother's horse son, just forever. So it must be super weird for Loki to like constantly see Odin just riding around on his kid. That's the end of that myth. I've provided some further reading. Duelaire's Book of Norse Myths, great book, really well illustrated, recently re-released and available with 2-day shipping on Amazon. There's also something more in the vein of poking fun at many myths called Zeus Grants Stupid Wishes. This is actually the last one. There's no more flipping. So Zeus Grants Stupid Wishes, which is a book you can buy, but is also available mostly for free on bettermyths.com. Hilarious treatment of a wide variety of myths. And you can look forward to such myths as Honey, I Sweated Out the Kids and Murdered by Mistletoe, which are 100% accurate descriptions of real Norse myths. That's it. Any questions? I had a lot. At many points in these stories.
Loki had a dog son and a horse son.
Yes.
Did he have the dog son first?
Yes, he had the dog son first, then the gods immediately realized that this was bad news, that he was going to bring about the end of the world. There was like a 5-minute interval between like having the son and this is awful. So they tie him up with stronger and stronger rope that he keeps breaking out of. And then eventually the dog son, Fenrir, a giant wolf, says, I'm only gonna let you guys tie me up again if you put your hand in my mouth. And one extremely brave god does that. They successfully tie him up, and then Fenrir bites off his hand. But they did tie him up, but he still gets out.
So these are Norse mythology
Yes,
stories?
these are all Norse mythology stories.
Are those Vikings, or who are the Norse people?
That's accurate, that region.
Viking
Yeah,
area.
the Viking era.
Northern Europe kind of thing?
Scandinavia, yeah. So the Vikings would have had these myths.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And it guided all of their actions. That classic scenario of
Right.
turning yourself into a horse.
And they're relatable.
Yeah, they're relatable. Yeah, exactly.
Good life lessons.
Yeah.
The
There's a
movies
lot
are
we
very
could-
different.
Yeah,
When watching the movies, they don't go into as much detail.
yeah,
They
they
really
should
gloss
have.
over a lot of this.
I would.
Can I just,
Yeah.
can I just say I appreciate
The Thor comic book goes into it.
You appreciate the what?
the sparkling water more than I ever have. Both our eyes left.
Yeah. Yeah, appreciate your right eye today.